I never imagined I'd be writing something like this, but here I am, standing in the wreckage of my marriage and trying to make sense of how it all fell apart. My name's Mike, and for the past 7 years, I genuinely thought I had a pretty good life with my wife, Lisa. We had our ups and downs, sure, but overall, I believed we were solid. We didn't fight much, and she always seemed happy. At least, that's what I thought. We met in college, hit it off right away, and got married 3 years after we started dating. She was beautiful, confident, and a little bitchy, but in a way I found sexy. She knew what she wanted, and honestly, I was happy to give it to her. She was fiercely independent, sometimes to the point of being difficult, but I loved her for it. She could be charming when she chose to be, and I always thought I was lucky to have her. But lately, I'd noticed some strange things. Small stuff at first. She'd leave her phone around more often, delete texts quickly if I walked in the room. She'd get defensive when I asked if she was cheating or hiding something. She'd also suddenly start coming home late from her yoga classes, which she insisted were just with her friends. She didn't seem that into sex anymore, and when I brought it up, she'd just roll her eyes and say I was imagining things. I'd also seen her voicemail messages she forgot to delete, and one day I found a receipt for a new dress she said she bought for herself. But her story about it didn't add up. It seemed like she was hiding something, and I didn't like the feeling. I started paying closer attention, but I didn't have concrete proof, just gut punches that something was off. Then, last week, I decided to surprise her with a little date night. I know we'd been distant lately, and I wanted to reconnect. I booked us a dinner at that new Italian place downtown, and afterward I suggested we try that salsa dance class she'd been talking about because she'd always wanted to learn. She agreed, but I could tell she wasn't really excited. When we got to the dance studio, she was her usual bitchy self, rolling her eyes, acting like she didn't want to be there. We took the class and I could see she was trying to hide her annoyance. But halfway through, she suddenly got an urgent text, excused herself to the bathroom, and didn't come back for a long time. When she finally returned, she looked flushed and a little breathless, like she'd been running. I watched her subtly glance around, and I noticed she kept her phone close, hiding it from view when I looked at her. The next day, I decided to check the security footage from the dance studio's back room. I know it sounds creepy, but I was desperate to find out what she was hiding. I managed to get access to the hotel's security camera system because I knew someone who worked there. I pulled the footage from that night. What I saw made my blood run cold. There she was, Lisa, locked in the back room with the salsa instructor, Mark. They weren't just practicing moves, they were doing much more. The camera caught them in a full-on blowjob, her on her knees, her hair falling over her face, him pushing into her mouth. That wasn't just practice. It was fucking sex, and she was moaning. For God's sake, I couldn't believe my eyes. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My hands shook and I had to sit down. I kept replaying the footage, trying to make sense of it. How could my wife cheat on me like that? It wasn't just a one-time thing either. They were doing this every week from what the footage showed. I couldn't believe she'd lie so easily, so blatantly. And she had the nerve to tell me they were just practicing advanced moves. Yeah, right. I didn't sleep that night and I was furious. The betrayal hit me hard, but what hurt even more was the fact she didn't think I'd ever find out. That she could lie so effortlessly. I never thought Lisa was a cheater, not like that. I always thought she was just a little bitchy, maybe a spoiled brat, but faithful. Turns out I was dead wrong. The next morning I woke up feeling like I'd been run over by a truck. My stomach was in knots and I kept replaying what I saw on the footage. I couldn't believe she'd betray me like that, right in our own life behind my back. I kept thinking about all the little signs I missed, all the times she lied about her practice sessions, her late nights at yoga, her dismissive attitude when I tried to talk about us. All of it suddenly made sense and it burned like acid in my chest. I knew I couldn't just confront her without a plan. I needed proof, a real confrontation, not just my assumptions. So I waited until she got home from work. She was unusually chipper, too chipper, honestly. She greeted me with that fake smile she always wore when she was hiding something. I could see it in her eyes, guilt, defiance, maybe even panic. When she asked how my day was, I looked her straight in the eyes and said, "Lisa, we need to talk." She raised her eyebrows like she was expecting some petty argument, but I kept my tone calm and cold. I told her I knew about everything: the salsa instructor, the secret sessions, the lies. Her face twitched and she tried to brush it off, saying, "You're overreacting, Mike. You don't know what you're talking about. It's just dance practice, that's all." Her voice was dismissive, like I was some paranoid fool. I didn't lose my composure. Instead, I pulled out the footage I'd saved on my phone, every second of her sneaking into that back room, her lips wrapped around Mark's cock. Her eyes widened and she stammered something about "it's not what it looks like." "Yeah, right." I told her I saw her moaning, her hair in her face, and that she was clearly into it. I asked her how she could lie so blatantly, how she could betray everything we had built. She started crying, but it was that fake, bitchy crying, tears that looked more like crocodile tears than real emotion. She kept insisting, "It's just sex, Mike. It's nothing, just a mistake. You don't understand, I was stressed, it meant nothing." That was the moment I lost my temper. I felt rage boiling over, and I told her I'd never trust her again, that she was a lying, cheating bitch who'd been sleeping around with some damn dance instructor. She kept denying, but I knew better. I had the footage, and I wasn't going to let her spin her web of lies anymore. The thing about Lisa is she's resilient. She's manipulative and bitchy as hell, and she loves to twist everything to her advantage. So she started gaslighting me, saying I was paranoid, that I was imagining things, that she loved me and would never do anything to hurt me. She even had the nerve to call me insecure, like somehow I was the problem. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I saw her true face, a selfish, desperate woman who'd cheat and lie to keep her little secret. I felt the same mix of sadness and fury that I imagine every betrayed spouse feels. I wanted to shake her, to make her admit what she'd done, but she just kept twisting the story, saying I was overreacting, that it was just a fling, that it didn't mean anything. She called the whole thing a mistake, a way for her to blow off steam. I looked at her, and for a moment I didn't see my wife anymore, just some stranger who had betrayed me and didn't even care. That day was a turning point. I realized I couldn't stay with someone who'd lie and cheat so easily, who thought she could dismiss her actions as just sex or a stupid mistake. My mind was made up. I needed to get out. But I also knew I needed to plan carefully to make sure I had all the evidence I needed. I couldn't just walk away without concrete proof of her infidelity. That's when I decided I'd dig deeper, find out exactly how long she'd been doing this, who else was involved, if anyone. I had to be sure I was making the right decision, even if it meant tearing my world apart in the process. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and angry, all at once. But I also felt a strange sense of clarity. I'd been a good husband, I thought. I'd been there for her, supported her, loved her. And she repaid me with lies, infidelity, and complete disregard for what I deserved. I knew I'd never see her the same way again, and the only thing left to do was figure out my next move. After the initial shock wore off, I started thinking about what I needed to do next. I couldn't just confront her and hope for some kind of honest confession. Lisa was a master manipulator, and I knew she'd try to lie her way out of it or gaslight me into doubting what I saw. I had to be smart about this. I spent the next couple of days gathering more evidence, reviewing the footage repeatedly and looking for other signs she might be hiding. I also decided to check her phone, just in case she'd left any clues or messages. Honestly, I felt sick doing it. I hate invading her privacy, but I was past caring at this point. I needed to know the full extent of her betrayal. I found some texts between her and Mark, exchanged right before our date night, that were suggestive enough to make me want to puke. Things like "can't wait to see you again" and "last night was so hot," all from her. That was all I needed to confirm she'd been lying for weeks. I also noticed her behaviors changing. She was more distant, more bitchy, snapping at me over stupid stuff. She'd brush me off when I tried to talk about us, claiming I was obsessed or paranoid, which only made me angrier. I realized this wasn't going to get better unless I took control of the situation. I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. I needed a plan to handle her, to confront her with my evidence and get the truth out of her once and for all. So I scheduled a meeting with a divorce lawyer, just to get my ducks in a row. I also started looking into places I could stay if I decided to end things. The more I thought about it, the more I knew that I couldn't stay with her. She'd broken every trust I ever had. I didn't see the point of pretending she was some innocent victim anymore. She was a liar and a cheat, and I had to face that reality. Meanwhile, Lisa kept acting like everything was fine. Really, she thought she was fooling everyone. She went about her days, acting like she was the innocent victim in all this, even trying to guilt-trip me by saying I was overreacting and that I was jealous or controlling. I couldn't believe her nerve. She was the one cheating, and she still had the audacity to call me insecure. That bitch had some serious balls. One night, I decided I couldn't wait any longer. I wanted to confront her face to face, get her to admit everything. But I also knew I needed to be careful. I didn't want her to get defensive or lie her way out of it again. So I sat her down, told her I knew about the affair, about the videos, the texts, everything. I watched her reaction like a hawk. She looked stunned for a second, then her face twisted into that fake, bitchy smirk she always wears when she's trying to manipulate someone. She said, "Mike, you're crazy. You're just jealous because you're insecure. I don't know what you're talking about." That's when I handed her my phone, showing her the footage again. Her eyes widened and she stuttered, trying to deny, trying to spin some story, anything to save her ass. I told her she could lie all she wanted, but the truth was right there, and I was done with her lies. I told her our marriage was over, that I wasn't going to stay with someone who thought she could cheat and lie her way out of it. She started crying again, but I didn't buy her tears. They seemed empty, rehearsed. My stomach turned at how easily she could switch her emotions on and off. I knew she'd never change, not now, not ever, and I felt a strange relief. It was like I finally saw her for what she truly was, a selfish, manipulative woman who only cared about herself. That night, I packed a bag and left. I couldn't be in the same house with her anymore. Everything about it felt tainted. I didn't hate her exactly, but I definitely felt nothing but contempt. She destroyed what we had, and I didn't see any way to salvage it. This was the end of my marriage, no matter how much it hurt to admit it. Now I'm here trying to piece my life back together. I've told a few friends what I found out, and they're furious on my behalf. Some told me I should go all out, take everything I can in the divorce. She's not the kind of person who'd feel remorse. Honestly, I'm just trying to move on, but I keep thinking about that back room, her moaning, her lying face. It's like a constant echo in my mind, and it's going to take a long time to get past it. It's been a few days since I kicked her out, and I say I've gotten much sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see her face, that sneer, her eyes pleading with me to believe her stupid excuses. The worst part is knowing that she had this secret life, this whole affair with Mark, going on behind my back for who knows how long. I keep replaying the footage, trying to understand how I missed all the signs, how I was so blind to her lies. I thought I knew Lisa. I thought she was a little bitchy, maybe a little spoiled, but faithful. Turns out I was dead wrong. She's a liar, a cheat, and I feel like I was just a fool to believe in her. The betrayal feels like a punch in the gut every morning when I wake up alone in this empty apartment. I keep asking myself how I let it get this far. How did I not see the warning signs? How did I miss the way she acted when she thought I wasn't looking? I know I should be angry, and I am seething, actually. But beneath that, I feel a deep sadness, like I lost a part of myself, a part I once believed. I trusted her, I loved her. And now I'm left with nothing but her lies and a huge hole in my life. Honestly, I feel numb most of the time, like I'm just going through the motions. I've been trying to focus on work, on getting my shit together, but it's hard. My mind keeps drifting back to that damned footage and her fake tears. I've told a couple of friends what I found out, and their reactions were pretty intense. Some told me I should take everything from her in the divorce, money, the house, whatever I can get. They say that she's a lying, manipulative bitch and that she doesn't deserve anything from me. Honestly, part of me agrees. If I'm being honest, I don't want her to get away with it. I want her to feel some of the pain she's caused me. But at the same time, I don't want to turn this into some kind of revenge game. I just want to move past it and rebuild my life. I've also gone back and checked the security footage again. It's solid proof, clear as day. I know I could use it in court if I want to push for full custody or a better settlement, but honestly, I don't even care about the money or the house right now. All I want is to be free of her lies and manipulation. I realize that staying angry and bitter isn't going to help me heal, but it's hard not to feel that way when I see her face, that bitchy smirk, trying to act innocent. The thing that's been bothering me the most is the feeling of betrayal, the way she lied so effortlessly. I keep asking myself why she did it. Was it just sex? Was she bored? Did she think she could get away with it forever? Or was she actually that selfish, that manipulative, that she'd risk everything just for Mark's cock? Honestly, I don't think I'll ever understand her. And I don't want to. I just want to forget her, move on, and never look back. I've started considering counseling, not just for the heartbreak, but to help me process everything. I'm angry, yes, but I realize I need help to let this go. I don't want to carry this anger forever. I have to find a way to forgive myself for trusting her, to forgive her for what she did. Maybe that's the only way I'll be able to truly move on. Or maybe I'll just learn to live with the pain and use it as fuel to rebuild my life better than before. Right now, I don't have a clear plan. I know I'll file for divorce soon. My lawyer told me I have a good case, and I'll try to stay busy. I've started looking at new apartments, thinking about moving far away from her. I've even thought about changing my number and blocking her on everything. The last thing I want is to hear from her again, to have her try to manipulate me into believing her lies. I just want her out of my life for good. Honestly, I feel like I'll never trust anyone again after this. I always thought Lisa was different, that she was loyal and true. Now I just see her as another user, another person who took advantage of my kindness. The worst part is knowing I loved her, and she threw that in the trash for some cheap thrill with Mark. It's a hard pill to swallow. But I'm trying, one day at a time, I tell myself. One day at a time. It's been a couple of weeks now since I found out everything, and I'm gradually starting to breathe again. Still, the pain lingers beneath the surface, a dull ache that doesn't quite go away. Every now and then I catch myself thinking about her, about Lisa, the woman I married, the woman I thought loved me. But then I remember the footage, the lies, the way she looked at Mark like he was her only salvation. That memory cuts deep, and I know I'm better off without her, even if it hurts like hell. I've been focusing on myself more than ever. I've started going to the gym, trying to clear my head and get some control back. I've also been talking to a counselor. It's not easy to open up about everything, about the betrayal, the anger, the sadness, but I'm glad I did. I need to process this mess, and I know bottling it up won't help. The counselor said I need to be kind to myself, that healing is a process, not something I can rush. That's hard to accept when I feel so broken, but I try to take her advice. One thing I've learned is how much I underestimated Lisa. She's a master manipulator, and I was blind to it because I wanted to see the best in her. I thought she was just a bitchy, spoiled woman, but she's more than that. She's a liar, a cheater, someone who would throw away a marriage for quick sex with a dance instructor. That realization hits hard. I trusted her, and she took that trust and stomped all over it. I can't help feeling stupid for believing she was loyal. I also started talking to some of my friends more openly about what happened. Their reactions have been a mix of outrage and pity. Some have told me I should dump everything she ever touched, that she's no good for me. Honestly, I agree. I don't want her back, and I don't want anything from her. I want her out of my life for good, and I want to move on. The hardest part now is figuring out what I want from all this. Do I want to sue her? Do I want to fight for custody if we have kids? Do I want to try and salvage something? Honestly, none of those sound appealing anymore. I just want to start fresh, somewhere far away from the betrayal, the lies, and the memories of what we used to have. I want to rebuild my confidence, trust in myself again, and eventually find someone who's worth my time. I've been thinking a lot about revenge, too. It's tempting to go after her, to make her suffer just a little for what she did. But deep down, I know that's not the answer. Revenge won't heal me. It'll only keep me stuck in the past. The best thing I can do is let her go, block her out completely, and focus on my own happiness. That's what I owe myself now. There's a strange sense of freedom in realizing I don't need her anymore. I don't need her lies, her manipulations, her betrayal. I spent years loving her, believing in her, and she repaid me with this. But now I see her for what she really is, that selfish, bitchy woman who'd throw everything away for a quick fuck. And honestly, I'm better off without her. It still hurts, though. Sometimes I think about calling her just to hear her voice to see if she still tries to manipulate me even now. But I stop myself. I know I need to stay strong for my own sake. I want to believe I'll be okay eventually, that the pain will fade. I've got good friends, a good job, and a new focus. I'm trying to be hopeful even if it's just a little. I guess the biggest lesson I've learned is that trust is fragile. Once broken, it's nearly impossible to fix, and some betrayals cut so deep that you never really recover. But you can learn to live with the scars. You can rebuild, even if it takes time. I don't know what my future holds, but I know I won't be the fool who ignores the signs next time. No more blind trust. No more letting someone else define my happiness. For now, I'll keep moving forward one day at a time, trying to leave the betrayal behind. I hope someday I can look back on this and see it as a painful chapter I survived, that I learned something about myself in the process. I deserve better, and I will find it, one way or another. Today, I finally feel a little lighter somehow, like I've shed a heavy weight I didn't even realize I was carrying around. It's been a brutal journey, one filled with anger, tears, disbelief, and 1,000 sleepless nights, but I've come to a sort of acceptance. Not because I forgive her, no, I don't think I ever will, but because I finally understand that some things are beyond my control, and the only thing I can really do is decide how I move forward. Looking back, I see how blind I was to the signs. All those moments I brushed off, the little things I thought were just her personality quirks, turns out they were clues I ignored. I trusted her too much, maybe because I wanted to believe in us so badly. Now I know that trust is something you have to earn every day, and once it's shattered, it's damn hard to piece back together. But I've learned that I can still rebuild. Not with her, but for myself. Of course, there's still pain. I can't pretend I'm over it. Every so often, I think about the nights we spent together, the plans we made, the future I thought we'd have. And I feel that sting, that ache of what could have been. But I also remind myself how much better off I am without her lies poisoning my mind. I'll never forget what I saw, her moaning in that back room, her lying face, and I'll carry those images as a reminder of how far I've come since then. What I want now is peace. A fresh start, far away from the betrayal and the memories that haunt me. I've already started making changes, cutting ties with people who don't serve me, focusing on my career, reconnecting with my passions. I've realized that I deserve happiness, trust, and respect, and I won't settle for anything less. Neither should anyone else. If there's one thing I can say for sure, it's that life goes on, even after the worst betrayal. You survive it, you learn from it, and you come out the other side a little stronger, a little wiser. Sometimes I think about what I'd say to her if I saw her again. Probably something like, "You lost me forever, Lisa." And I'll be damn sure I never let someone disrespect me that way again. But honestly, I don't see her ever truly changing, and I don't want her in my future anymore. This whole experience has taught me the importance of boundaries, of listening to my instincts, and of never tolerating bullshit. I've been broken, but I'm healing. Not overnight and not easily, but I'm healing. I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I know that someday soon I'll be able to look back at this nightmare and realize I survived it. Stronger, wiser, and finally free. Maybe someday I'll find someone who truly respects me, who values honesty and loyalty. Maybe I'll never fully forget what happened, but I'll learn to live with it. That's what this is all about. Learning to move past the betrayal, to trust again, and to remember that I am worth more than the lies she told. So, here's my final thought. If you're going through something similar, don't ignore those gut feelings. Don't brush off the small signs that something's wrong. Trust your instincts, gather your proof if you need to, and don't be afraid to walk away. Because at the end of the day, you owe it to yourself to be happy and honest in your life. No one else is going to do that for you, and I'll leave it at that. I'm finally ready to turn the page and start a new chapter, one where I'm the one in control, and the betrayal is just a lesson I'll never forget.